Hello everybody and welcome. It is now time for us to say goodbye to mods in Animal Company. But before we get started with the video, make sure to hit that sub button, like right there. It should say subscribe. We currently have 26.3% subscribers watching this channel, and if we get that all the way up to 30%, I'm going to do the biggest giveaway I have ever done. I'm also giving away 2 of these shiny summer packs in my Discord right now, so when you finish watching the video, join my Discord. There's a link down in the description. So as you guys know who have been here for a long time, my first big break in this game was like scammers. I did a lot of videos where I was catching scammers in different ways. I put on like child voice and stuff like that. So my actual first video was about modders like scamming me. And it did incredibly well. And that was at a point when modding was like just starting to take off in Animal Company. And I was one of the creators amongst other creators who then began to transition their content to cover modding more and more. And I'll hold my hands up. I was one of the main ones who was covering it the most. I'll fully accept that. But at that time, it was something like new, fresh. And also, you can hate me all you want, but it was getting views. But here's the thing. When I was covering mods, I don't personally believe at that time it was like damaging the game. Like, I don't think it was at that point making the game any worse than, like destroying the core mechanics there. Because I fully believe, and if you guys disagree as well, please leave a comment. If you disagree with everything I'm saying, or if you have your own thoughts, please leave a comment. But like, I don't feel like, for me, and you can hate on this as you want, for me, the aspect of grinding items is not my appeal to this game. Now, you could say, well, that's the whole point of this game. No, that's not true. There's so many, like, different elements. The only up has more appeal to me. The arena has way more appeal to me. You guys know when you watch my live streams how much I try to push us doing an arena battle. I adore the arena. Even the moon map has no materials to be collected, and it's becoming that it seems like they're trying to make this game so it's not just a grindy, go and collect materials and buy stuff. It seemed like they were trying to do it so it's more than that. It's like a hub. The best way I can describe it is if you've seen the movie Ready Player One, where a game has everything. Because that's what this feels like it's going towards, and I absolutely adore that. That it does feel like it has everything. You do have the duplication machine. You do have runs of like sewers and mines and haunted house. But you do also have like an FPS style game where you can go and do the arena stuff. I don't know where I'm trying to find. Over here, where you can go into the arena. It's like this whole other game mode. And then you even have the only up. Okay, so it does feel like they're starting to expand. There's also rumors that there's like a horde mode as well. So if we get the horde mode, that's another feature that's not just resource like grinding. And also, just because there's mods doesn't mean you couldn't resource grind, if you know what I mean. Like, just because there was mods doesn't mean it. So I actually didn't care about the effect, and you can hate me for this, you can quote me, you can slate me in the Discord. I didn't care about the effects on resource grinding, because as far as I was concerned, if you enjoy that side, regardless of mods, you could still get a few of your buddies and go and grind resources, okay? It didn't ruin it for everybody. It just took out the equation, the part that people like me didn't care about, okay? So that's how I feel about that. Again, I'd love to hear your guys' opinions on all of this stuff, but at that point, I didn't feel like mods were like killing the game. Okay, I just felt like it was something fun where you could like crash your server. There was always loads of people going crazy in modded lobbies. So yes, be honest, even if you didn't at the time, like, you know somebody that enjoyed the mods. They were like another aspect to the game. A bit like the only up and stuff that you could go in and you get flooded with materials and goods. It also, having that flood of like materials and goods also brought an end to scamming. So you guys still might have the odd person that you know, or even yourself, that's been scammed in a public lobby. But from my experiences, because it's a bit like the stock market, because the value of items plummeted, the need to scam people and be mean it wasn't there anymore, because you could just go into the next lobby and you suddenly had 50 millions worth of nuts. So it wasn't an issue. So in my opinion, the early days of modding were actually kind of cool. Like, I enjoyed it. There was good videos to be made on it. It was a lot of fun. But, like everything, it started to go too far. For me, the early signs that modding was starting to take the mick was when it came to, we started to get signs that people could change their name. Now, it was something to begin with. You kind of looked at it and was like, oh, that's sick. I haven't covered a video where you kind of like, oh, look, you can like change the name. So it says like something else. It's like in green. But then people were putting owner or coder or like putting other creators' names. And at that point, it actually goes away from being something funny to something that could actually be used quite badly and quite harmful to the community. But that was the early warning signs. I wouldn't say that by itself was a point where you should be like, no, mods need to go. But it certainly was a point where you're like, ears are starting to like lift up and you're a little bit like, something's going on here. And I'm not sure it's in the right direction for the mods. I feel like that they started to take a step too far. You then had things like, and this for me as well, again, I did a video where I trolled my own community with this, but you then could spawn in landmines. And before you guys give me sick, I know I made videos on this. I covered these topics. I promoted them. Okay, I know that I am that person. But that doesn't mean I can't do a video talking about the negative effects. As much as I made the videos, I did also see the negative effects that was happening on the game. Especially with the landmines. I feel like the landmines were not as bad as the name changes, but what they allowed was for you to kill people in non-PvP easily, because you could just have this invisible landmine on a crossbow and then take it to somebody, kill them and steal their stuff. Which I know that the value of items aren't that high because of it, but like it's trolling to the extent that it's actually just really negative. It means that you just basically can't leave this. This is the only spot you have unless you're in a private lobby, which is not what this game's about. But if you want my opinion, it does seem that not only did they start to get out of hand, I generally think modders have now got the attention of Animal Company in a very bad way when you had the Galaxy Gap. I feel like we saw Mr. Grey Wolf do a video saying about how to get the Galaxy Gap, and then you saw the video of Just Toasty where he acknowledges that video is about and the loss of the meaning of the Galaxy Gap. But not only that, I've heard rumors, now I've not seen it, I've heard rumors of people though who are able to bring in the drip department hat. And I think these things, and before you start going, oh, well, you're just annoyed because now the drip department hat's going. Not at all, not at all. At the end of the day, I promoted, not like saying I've told people to mod, but I promoted them in my videos the entire time. I always kind of knew that this would end up happening. That you would end up getting people that could have the drip department hat, who could end up having the name saying CadetGrumpy, and then they could just buy the rest of it, and then it is what it is. Like, I always knew that was a possibility. So I'm not sitting there going, I went running and going, Animal Company, we've lost our hat. Oh, you gotta do something. Blah, 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 blah. No, I've never been one of those. I always accept the consequences of my actions, and that was on the consequences of my actions. I accept that. But it does seem that it has caught the attention of Animal Company, regardless of what I feel or have to say about it. And if you're wondering, well, how do you know AC appeared to be upset about it and trying to make changes? Well, there's been signs. There has been early signs, okay? So, what are the ways that I know, and that you should know as well, that Animal Company are now starting to take a shift? Because the thing is, before, mods just ran crazy. There was nothing they're blocking. But now there's taken a shift. And you can tell because there's a money cap. There is a cap to how much money you have. And you know, and I know, there was people with billions. Not millions, but billions of nuts. And they've capped it. Which to me is the first step in them now shutting down mods. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a lot more things very quickly happening. Because the thing is with any game, if they support mods and they allow it to happen, mods run rampant. If you look at a game like Bone Labs, it is rampant with mods, but they've leaned into it and they've accepted it. But then if you look at like other games, which then don't like mods and come against it, there'll always be that person that will still manage to get mods. So mods I don't think are going 100%, but at the moment you go into random lobbies and you have a high chance of finding a lobby that's modded. And I think Animal Company are going to be quite quickly like shutting down the mods. Now you can't shut down the Discord, but you can implement things, especially given they update their game at least weekly. Sometimes it's during the week. If they're just updating things that just counteract the mods, I'm sorry, but you're gonna get a mod that comes in and then within a few hours it's gone. So I do think that this is the start of the end of modding. So you guys, can I just say this as well? You guys will be so OG to this game, like myself, that you would have been here through the era of the mods and the death of mods. That is literally what's going on. We have the era of the mods, and now the mods are dying. Like, they are literally going. Because the thing is like, right now there's no consequences to mods. I think the statement they put out was like, if you mod and it ruins your game's just restarted, so you lose everything. But it was just kind of things like, if you mod and it ruins your game. So people would just be like, well, it should be fine, like, right? This shouldn't be an issue. But if they start to implement, like, I don't know, a report system so you can report people and then get their accounts banned, how many of you people... Now, I know you could just make a new account, but how many of you people are really willing to risk losing all of your stuff for a mod? And then, how many of you people could be bothered to make a new account? These are very small numbers. As I said, there'll always be some people that are trying to do a mod, who are trying to bring something in, who are trying to break the game. But I think right now it is running rampant, and I think this is why it's the end of modding, is because you'll always get the odd person that does it. But I do generally think, like, as a vast whole, modding is going to go. I generally think as a vast majority, like, modding is on the steps, the early steps of leaving. But that's enough of me yapping. And don't feel scared of how many letters you put in, how many words you put in the comments. I do want to see your lot's opinions. And I might even do another video tomorrow as well, where I'll bring up your comments about modding and we'll have the discussion. So make sure to leave that comment of what you think about mods, and we'll have that discussion tomorrow. So yeah, make sure to leave that comment, guys. I'm genuinely super interested to see what your guys are thinking. My genuine wholehearted thought was it was like genuinely really fun to begin with. It negated an aspect of the game I personally don't really care about. They got out of hand and you got on Animal Company's radar, and I think that now we are on the forefront, the early doorstep of them being combated and going away. But let me know in the comments what you guys think about the mods. So I'm actually filming this a few hours after the original video, but Animal Company have made an announcement, and I feel that it's quite reflecting on what I have said. So I'm going to read this out, but they say, we know a lot of you are trying out mods, but unfortunately they've gotten less silly and more destructive for the game lately. Completely agree, that's literally what I was saying in the video. Going forward, mod usage is going to start to be curtailed. Curtailed? I don't know how to say that word. I'm dyslexic, I googled it, it says reduced. And using mods may result in bans from the game. This is exactly what I was talking about with Animal Company now starting to have a hard stance on mods. And I think it's good. I think it's really good for the future of Animal Company. But if you disagree, again, let me know in the comments.